Well, good morning everybody, and welcome to another review video. We are looking at Vagar in the Faroe Islands, up in the North Atlantic. It's a beautiful day here, as you can see, although the actual weather is not too good. Current conditions as of today, 15th of October at 11:55 UK time. Currently the winds are 290, got 22 knots, gusting 34, and the sky is overcast at 2,800 feet. Temperature's 8 degrees, and actually that's pretty good weather for this part of the world. Very often they are steeped in turbulent winds coming off some hills there, and lots of fog. But today I've left it clear so you can have a look at this new scenery just released today by MK Studios. So it's Vagar, Echo Kilo Victor Golf, the only airport in the Faroe Islands, and we'll have a look at some history in a moment. Download is 258 megabytes, and it installs again into the community folder at 406 megabytes. Now these prices include tax and VAT, which will vary depending on which country you're in when you purchase them. €11.99 or $13.92 US, or £10.13 UK, and those prices, as I said, include tax. Now, a nice little discount for you if you're a previous owner of the Prepare 3D version, that's version 4 or 5, then the scenery is available for €7.20, which is quite a nice discount. So this is MK Studios, and again, first off, I have to say the sceneries are really beautiful. The islands are fantastic, especially if the weather's like this, but often it isn't, and they have extremely difficult approaches, as you'll appreciate. But a very, very well done scenery first impressions, and today we're going to have a close look at the airport itself, and we'll try and get a few shots of how the islands look in the lovely weather we have today. Okay, so let's have a look at some history. So Vagar Airport's the only airport in the Faroe Islands and is located 1.2 miles or 1.9 kilometers east of the main village of Vagar on the island of Vagar. The Faroe Islands are a self-governing territory and therefore not subject to the rules of the European Union. And the airport is the main operating base for the island's national airline, Atlantic Airways. And for a brief period during 2006, it was also the base for a low-cost airline called Faroe Jet. After the war, Vagar airfield was left abandoned and unused until 1963, when it was reopened as a civilian airport. Initially, the Icelandic airline Icelandair began scheduled flights to Bergen, Copenhagen and Glasgow from this airport using a Douglas DC-3 aircraft, or often we call it a Dakota. In 1964, a separate airline, Faroe Airways, operated flights first using a chartered aircraft, but in 1965 they bought a DC-3 from a Swedish airline and used that aircraft on the service. The company ceased operating on the 28th of September 1967, and in 1971 Icelandair was operating a Boeing 727-100 jetliner into the airport with weekly non-stop service to Glasgow and Reykjavik. In 1988, Atlantic Airways was operating a BAE 146-200 Whisperjet service non-stop to Copenhagen from the airport. 2014, a new airport terminal was opened with increased passenger capacity. The airport has one runway, runway 1230 at 5,902 feet or 1,799 meters, and is of asphalt construction. It has high-intensity runway lighting system, high-intensity airfield lighting system, centerline lights and PAPIs at both ends. Runway 30, which is what we're approaching now, has an ILS system as well as an RNP approach option. Runway 12 at the other end has a localizer DME with an RNP option too. Runway also exhibits a sloped surface and is grooved. Now, there are very strict operating conditions and procedures at this airport due to the high winds, turbulence, fog and terrain issues. Scandinavian Airlines operating to Vagar from Denmark but had issues with fog, causing many cancellations of their flights. Until 2019, their pilots began using RNP performance operation procedures, which allows landings in fog, as long as the special onboard equipment is available and the pilots are trained for its use. Atlantic Airways began using RNP procedures in 2012, with the first airline in Europe to do so. Passenger figures, well, we have figures for 2018. 377,813 passengers and had over 5,200 aircraft movements. Atlantic Airways helicopters and SAS all operate into Vagar, along with Wildero Airlines, which operate charters into the island also. So when you take the weather away, as you can see, these islands are stunning, absolutely beautiful to look at. Very challenging approach to the airport. You look at the charts, it's extremely challenging, fairly short runway, so it does require a lot of skill. There are plenty of videos on YouTube for you to look at. But as you can see, absolutely stunning islands out here, just incredible to look at. And beautiful views when the weather is clear, which sadly is all too rare. Anyhow, there are some facts and figures on the history. As I said, this is Vagar Airport in the Faroe Islands by MK Studios, released today, 15th of October. It's available on Sim Market. So let's get down to the airport itself and the locality and have a look and see what they've done. So here we are at ground level. You're looking at the main terminal, and as you can see through the windows, there's been some development inside, so we'll have a look at that in a minute. The ramp is beautifully modelled, concrete's good, signage is good, all of the signage is pretty crystal clear. A slight blurring on this one, but then we are pretty close. There's my aircraft on the ramp. And you can see we've got moving vehicles and people. And looking in the other direction, there you go, the front of the terminal, a couple of people, bits and pieces and vehicles moving, and they've got the control tower over there to the left. So let's go inside the building. So here we are inside the main terminal from airside, and as you can see, they've done a lovely, really nice job here of recreating the inside of the terminal. Telephone boxes, seating, security check there, which something I know all about because I was working in aviation security for nearly 38 years. Little desks there and bits and pieces. We've got trash bins. Signage is good and crystal clear, as you can see there, and nice view out through the windows. There's your information desk, very crisp there, the furniture looks good. And there you can see the security check with your X-ray machines and your standard passenger walkthroughs. And that's the view from the landside part. So you go through the X-rays there. Excellent. So another call box there and a cash dispenser. So now we're at landside, and they don't have the windows, transparent windows on here. You just get this sort of illusion of looking through the glass. But this is the landside road, nicely designed. As you can see, the terminal is pretty accurate according to the pictures that I've looked at. And in the other direction there. Great look at the car park, or parts of it. Right, we've got signs there, but there's nothing written on them. So maybe that was just an oversight. Something they missed during the scenery. So just an overview there showing the landside road and the landside part of the terminal and the main car park. As you can see, huge extensive car park. Very nice. And again, nicely detailed buildings on the airport as well, both landside and airside. You know, the fence line looks pretty good here as well. the way around, which is nice. And these buildings are typical of what's to be found on this airport. There's a little roundabout and the entrance to the airport that you come in on the cars. And once again, you've got a sign there, an airport sign, and it's blank. I wonder if maybe there's somebody just forgot to fill in the signs, I don't know. I think this is just an Asobo anomaly there, where you've got a building literally goes onto the road. But again, not a problem at all. The airport we're interested in, not really the landside stuff. This is really just eye candy. But as you can see, beautiful area, absolutely beautifully done, the whole area. And so now we have a nice detailed airport that sits in this lovely landscape. So here's looking at the village itself. Very, very nice. I'm not sure really whether they've done anything. This all kind of looks default to me. Can't see anything that they might have done. So we look at the harbour here and the port. You can see there are some ships, little boats in there. A whole line of cars. I think probably Menko Studios might have added these, because generally you get photogrammetry where they're just flat photo images, but these, as you can see, they're looking a bit closer, you can see there are actual models and they're all pretty much the same, and the column with the cars parked, so I think this is what MK have added. And a nicely detailed ship there in the bay. It's a nice model, very nice. And we've got what looks like a fuel farm or some sort of power plant out here, which looks good too. Interesting vegetation that sits on the hillside here. And there, looking back at the airport, you can see runway 12, which has the approach lighting system. It's a localizer on runway 12, not a full ILS, localizer DME, and the approach lighting is going to be really helpful. So here's the control tower building. We go up and have a look inside, see whether the control tower's been developed. I think it has actually. Actually it's not. Okay, I seem to remember thinking that possibly it had. However, nice view of the airport from inside the control tower. So we'll just have a quick run over the apron. As you can see, the quality of the buildings and the ground markings all looks excellent. Very much up to standard, very impressive, nicely detailed airport. Massive hangar here. I wonder if there's anything inside. So here we are inside that hangar. It's not been really developed because you can still see through the roof, which is a pity, but the doors look good and they're weathered as well. And looking at the land side again, you can see right through those doorways. And if we look from land side, you can see the doorways are actually closed. So just a pity that these little finishing touches haven't been done. I mean, I don't expect them to develop inside every building, but it would be nice. If you're going to put a hangar there and doors like this, you really don't want to see an open roof and being able to see out to the outside of the building just through lack of finishing the structure off. Just my opinion, that's the only fault I can find so far. Other than that, as you can see, everything looks nice, absolutely lovely, very impressive. Okay, as usual with my reviews, let's sort of turn the light down to dusk and see what we can see. Have a look at what lighting they've done. Okay, it's just after 6 PM, and as I've said before, many times before, many airports in this simulator really come to life when you go into the darkness hours, and it looks like Vagar is no exception. That is beautiful. Looking at the terminal area, you can see sunset's really kind of just happening, yet all the lights are on, so it's beautiful subtle lighting there. Really impressed with that. And in addition, you've got the blue airfield edge lighting. The runway, as you can see, is well lit. Don't think we have any green centerline lighting. We'll have a look in a minute when the light goes down a bit further. But as you can see, just beautifully lit, and the whole place looks lovely when the weather's like this, and you can see. And they're looking in the other direction. And you've got lighting on the road there, the highway that goes on the other side of the lagoon there. And just to show you a picture of what the landscape looks like in the sunset, with the lighting as it is, it's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. There's the sun sinking in the west, and you've got the village down there to the right. So, beautiful area, absolutely looks lovely and beautifully lit at this time of the day. So let's go down and have a close look at the building and the airport itself properly. So we're just going to pan across the ramp. Here's the building that we looked at, the big hangar. As you can see, that lighting is lovely. It's a real pity they didn't finish the building properly. So just going across the front of the terminal there, you can see inside, very nicely lit. Vehicles have headlights and tail lights. The ramp is nicely lit. And again, you've got these down lights that are shining at the right area, which is good. The light sources are correct. Very nice subtle lighting. Subtle lighting around the control tower, not a lot, but just enough possibly. Might look better actually during the darkness. That looks really nice. So just having a look at the signage there. Those are perfectly acceptable, very bright, no problem at all. No reflections into the grass or the concrete, but they're perfectly adequate. And the same on the other side there. So just papping down the runway towards the threshold of 30. Just want to see if I can show you the slope. But as you can see, lighting is perfectly adequate, no problem at all. So here we are sitting on the threshold of runway 30, and you can just about there, you can see that there's a well-defined slope. You can't see the other end of the runway. There's an uphill slope that finishes very close to where the first exit is onto the ramp. And there's a view looking down runway 30 on the approach there over the lagoon, and you can see the, the flashing introduction lights there. And there's a view of the main terminal from landside and the car park, and you can see we've got interesting thing about this airport, we have light poles, and although we've got the floating globes here, you can see them perfectly well. Because you have lighting poles put in, the effect is so much better. It doesn't look as though the globes are actually floating. So they've it would appear they've used that option to their advantage here in this scenery. And as you can see, nice, really nice lighting landside, particularly here and along these buildings. So let's go to night now and see what the whole thing looks like in the darkness. So here we are, it's now 8 PM and we're well into the darkness here. As you can see, the landside area is well lit. Lighting actually looks so much better. And a really nice view there looking towards the runway 30 threshold. You can see the road on the other side of the lagoon. It's well lit here, and a nice view of the moon. Just some roads there to the land side. and looking out to the bay there, which is you've got the ship somewhere here, and this is the town. So a close-up look at the building. There you can see well inside the building. It's almost all total glass, extremely well lit. Some might say that maybe is a little too bright, I'm not sure, but looks quite good. Again, you've got vehicles here nicely done, and they've got headlights, and some have got tail lights. The right amount of clutter, cones, everything looks actually as it should do. And that's the fire station there. And there's our hangar that was unfinished from the inside. And just going across to the control tower. Lighting's quite good, although the tower itself is completely dark. Would have been nice to see some work done here so that you can actually identify the tower in the darkness. As I've said many times, these airports really tend to come to life during the night, and every little bit of subtle lighting really helps the scenery look good, particularly at a very difficult airport like this. My landings are a challenge to begin with, so any light in the scenery really helps. Track out towards the runway. So runway lighting is good, it's adequate, no centerline lighting, but the runway is well defined. And there's the taxiway exit, and as you can see, no green centerline lighting. But no, perfectly okay. And there's an overview of the airport and the taxiway system leading to the runway. And looking towards the threshold of runway 30 in the distance, you can see we've got the runway end identifier lighting and the touchdown zone lighting here. And a nice view of the moon there. Just have a little look towards the city. As I said, I think much of this is default, but it does look good, it does look nice. Football field there, or soccer for you Americans that are watching. Again, there's the boat in the middle, but it's not lit. It would have been nice to see it lit. And we're just retreating down the bay here now, and you can have a look at what's going on. Looks nice. And there's a really nice shot of the airport runway and the airport area itself, with the moon shining on the water to the right there. Very, very nice. Okay, so let's bring up the dawn and have a look at what it looks like at the dawn. So just after 8 AM in the morning, as you can see, the lighting is still just about there. Very, very pleasant. Let's bring the sun up a bit more. So there we are at 9 AM, and you can see the sun's just coming up. And because we're quite high up in the latitudes here, getting close to up towards the high Arctic here. Up in the northern part of the Atlantic, you can see the sun is still fairly low, even at 9 AM in the morning. And there we are, just before 11 o'clock local time, and you can see the whole layout of the airfield. Very impressed with it. So there we go, folks. That is Vagar International Airport on the Faroe Islands. It's the only airport on the group of islands that can anywhere on the islands at all. A new scenery for Flight Simulator 2020 by MK Studios. As I said, download is 258 megs and installs at 406 megs. And price is €11.99 or $13.92 in United States currency. or £10 and 13 pence in UK pounds. Those prices include tax, which will vary depending on the country you purchase the scenery in. For previous owners of the scenery for Prepare 3D, there's a discount entitling you to a purchase price of €7.20, which is very nice. What do I think? Yeah, it's lovely. It's another nice scenery. It's a challenging place to fly into, and I know lots of simmers are interested in this kind of place as well, and it's a stone's throw from Denmark. So you can get your favourite Atlantic Airways A320 or Scandinavian 320, fly in from Copenhagen or fly up from the UK. Bear in mind, if you use real weather, you will get challenging conditions here. As I said, I'm looking at the weather now. It's 11:44 Zulu, and let's have a look at the weather now. So currently the weather is the winds are 280 at 25 knots. They have backed off a bit. Visibility is good, but you've got rain and your broken clouds at 2,800 feet. Temperature's 8 degrees, QNH at 1011, so high pressure. Clouds aren't too bad, it's rainy, but bear in mind you get a lot of fog. But this should look really beautiful in the winter. In fact, before we go, I will let's load a winter scene, see if we can get the snow on it, and let's have a look at it. So here's a quick view with snow cover. We've got about 13 inches of snow, and just having a look at the local area. As you can see, the mountains are well covered. So you've got patches of snow on the ramp area, but not completely. Looks quite good, but I'm wondering if maybe this is really developed for snow. Let's make a slight change to the snow conditions. So I've just toned the snow down to 8 inches, or was it 8 centimeters, sorry. And as you can see, there is a difference. The mountains actually really look good. The airport looks a bit ragged. And there we are, looking towards the town, into the bay there in the distance. We've got sparse snow. So I want to try one more thing, really ratchet the snow up a bit and see what we get. Okay, we now put 52 centimeters of snow down. The ramp's looking a little bit better, but not much. As you can see there, the main ramp is still pretty clear, although we're starting to get icy bits and pieces here. And this looks a bit more realistic. Landside looks better. This looks a bit more realistic now. And as you can see, significant amount of snow cover. Literally closed a lot of the roads here. And the village is pretty much snowed in. And there we go, a last look with the snow on the ground. So there you are, folks. We've had a quick look, and don't know how realistic that snowy scene would be. Obviously you'd have to try and fly up here in the winter under real conditions and see what it looks like. But yeah, do I like it? Yes, I do. It's lovely, and the price is quite nice. €11, a tenner for basically what's a complete scenery. Very impressive, and again sits in a really interesting location. Now granted, if you fly real weather, you won't see this kind of view very often, because the islands here do get turbulence, fog, low cloud and rain, and the conditions get pretty ridiculous sometimes. But just now and again you get conditions like this, and you have a look on YouTube, you'll see one or two videos operating into this amazing little airport. So there you go, MK Studios, Vagar Airport scenery in the Faroe Islands. available on Sim Market now. Thank you very much for joining me in this review. I hope it's helped you and given you some pointers. And so this is Lee, Virtual Airline Pilot, saying thank you very much for joining me on this review. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next video. So it's bye for now. Bye bye.